going on? Welcome to Where the Truth Be At.
Where the Truth Be At. This is the show. Welcome.
How y'all doing?
Back. It's a pleasure.
It's definitely a pleasure. So yeah, we're going to be on different locations depending on where we're at and where we're going, you know, within our travels and stuff. So
we said that in episode 1, you know.
We did.
We always want to switch it up on you guys. And whenever the Ruach, the Spirit comes over, sometimes we just want to just record, you know. But we always want to give a good presentation.
Definitely a good presentation. So tonight we're going to be kicking off with a topic that's pretty very deep. It's going to be a long series. And
you said the word series.
It is going to be a series.
Yeah.
And we're going to dig really deep into this. So bear with us. We didn't really rehearse this or anything. So we're just going to shoot from the hip, right?
Yeah, I don't even know how many parts it's going to be. So we're just going to go, you know, and we're going to hammer home on this topic until we feel as though that's enough of this topic to be discussed for right now.
Yeah. So the first topic, you want to kick it off?
Yeah.
It's right here too. I got
it right here in my joint. The first topic we're going to be talking about in totality is the fallen ones. Some people may call them demons. Some people may call them devils. Some people may call them aliens. Some people may call them, you know, gods. It's a lot of different names and a lot of different terminologies that go into these beings of higher intellect. That whole purpose is to lead man astray. Astray from what, you may say? Astray from the path. Because there's always been two paths. And that's what we want to talk about. We really want to dig in deep into the characteristics of these fallen ones, you know, that purpose, and, you know, just how you can avoid them. Because you can't really avoid them, they're everywhere. But how you can detect them and how you can rid yourself of them, you know. And it's only through the Most High. It's only through the Most High, you know. That's the most key part.
So I was just reading a little bit of the agenda that we have right here, and it's pretty detailed and stuff like that. So, you know, a lot of people speak about bad energies, and we've been speaking a little bit about this a lot, and negative frequencies and so forth and so on. Especially with the affirmation crowd nowadays. You know, we are getting a lot of knowledge on spiritual topics, but we have to be able to take it to a point where, you know what type of topics we're talking about or how deep those topics really get, because those topics is just not face value and that's it that you see on the meme.
What's the quote? How far does the rabbit hole go?
It goes far. We're going to take you back through the history. We're going to take you back through the history, like I was saying. We're going to go through the different things that a lot of our people, our forefathers understood. We're going to reiterate a lot of that, and it's going to be pretty fun. Yeah,
and we really want to make it relatable to you guys today, because a lot of times when we talk about these ancient beings, we think, oh, prehistoric, and they know. You know, everything's connected within one. This whole society, the way the world is ran right now, it's all ties into it. So, I guess we could kick off the first topic that we're going to shoot from.
Before we even get started with that, I really want to just hammer that home. You know, and just say Selah on that. There are a lot of different types of spirituality.
What do you mean by that? Tell the people what you mean by that.
First off, when people say they're spiritual, we don't know what type of spiritual they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
You have to examine their spiritual by their fruit, by their works.
Yeah.
You know, basically their actions. You know, in the scriptures when we read, there's a lot of different spiritual tribes. Canaanites were spiritual. The Philistines were spiritual. The Egyptians were spiritual. But what type of spiritual are we describing? Even the Pharisees and the scribes, all of those were spiritual sects, and then we have spiritual tribes that occupied lands in Northeast Africa and throughout Sub-Saharan Africa as well.
No, I agree. And a lot of times,
And West Africa, of course. So
a lot of times within today's society, and as time went on, a lot of people had that intent with words. They had that intent behind wordplay. You know, being spiritual. What does that mean? What is
it's very
spirit?
vague.
They made it very extremely vague.
It is extremely vague, but
to
get
be
this.
interpreted by any type of way.
Exactly. Just check this out, though. Even though it's vague, they're still under the category of spirituality, and they're technically under the category of Afro spirituality as well. Because when we look back at the history and the scriptures, we have the majority of the infighting on the continent of Africa when it comes to the different spiritualities that's being fought against. Even in India, the affirmations are a Babylonian spiritual system that we see in here today. The law of attraction, the law of affirmations, LOA, these are derived from their forefathers, the Babylonians. And the Babylonians, we already know their history if we go back to the scriptures.
I agree. And just to add on to that point, the wars and all the things that were fought and what they believe and what they fought to believe in was all something that was invisible per se to the naked eye. Spirit is an entity or an energy that you cannot really see with the naked eye. And when you start talking about things that's invisible to the naked eye, you're on that realm of, the highest. You're on the realm of outside of this world. And the beings that exist outside of this world are countless, endless, meaning we had different spirits, because we're spirits, again, they're entities that's invisible to the naked eye. And people want to worship what?
Spirits. What is a spirit?
Oh, yeah. What is a spirit?
No, I just see this again. Might even have to cut that. What is a spirit?
A spirit is an entity that exists from outside the physical realm. It's an entity that exists within the invisible, and they have power and knowledge and things that can persuade men to worship them as gods, as such.
And to answer this question, how did a spirit come about? Were there spirits before?
Right. Good question.
Were there spirits before? The Most High created everything in the beginning.
Good question.
Everything was created in the beginning, all of us. A spirit, a man's soul. When he passes on or transitions, his soul becomes his spirit. How they say body, soul, spirit. There's a lot of misconceptions with that. Spirits are derived from giants. They arrive from all springs. And when we get into a lot of things like that, people are like, oh man, what y'all talking about? No, it's some real stuff we're talking about. Some real things, and we're going to break it all the way down. Because we can't just say, energy this or frequency that. Those are abstract things that we've been saying. Every energy is corresponding to a spirit. They both are unseen. It's
connected to one, and that connection has a parallel, parallel body to it. Just like love and hate or war and peace. There's parallels to it, And we just want to make sure that we in the upright parallel within that moment. Because, and that could be kind of tricky, so we're not going to get into that per se at this moment, but we really want to dive in deep into what a spirit is and the different entities that play a part in man's inner being.
So check this out, right? I'm gonna go do a scenario. Scrolling through Facebook or Instagram, whatever social media platform you love to be on, see a meme, can't be around people with bad energy. What are you really saying? You're saying when you walk in the room, you sense a negative energy coming from people. People in here wanting to fight, they wanting to argue, they wanting to, you can see jealous looks out of people, snippy responses. It's just the energy is bad. But what is that energy attached to? Because we as humans, we can sense an energy because we can sense a spirit. So a lot of these energies are attached to a spirit that's causing that energy to reflect. Every spirit has an energy attached to it.
That's facts.
And every spirit operates on a frequency. These are constructed facts and truths the Most High has made.
And that brings us to the first point on how to recognize, people that has those fallen spirits or those, different type of entities persuading them or even possessing them at some points. Like my brother said, when you see a meme that's on social media saying, I want to stay away from bad energy, that can be taken so many different ways depending on the person that's saying it, right? Because light don't dwell with darkness, neither to darkness dwell with light within this realm of earth. They coincide with one another. But how do we spot this? How can we spot when something's off within a person? And it could be a lot of different examples, but I do want to give like a few.
Yeah,
that was a good example.
Yeah, like real quick, how can we recognize demons or fallen spirits
in people?
In people. Some type of right there, in people, right there. Bam. How can we recognize demons or fallen spirits in people? Just the same way we recognize bad energy. Because people also misinterpret what bad energy is.
Yeah, that's true as well.
Before we even get into recognizing spirits, you got to be able to recognize the energy correctly.
Yeah, that's true as well. Because like someone may say, me and my brother have a bad energy because we're talking about something that they are just not willing to dive into. A person constantly that want to hear about, to me, meaningless media dribble. Talking about what the latest celebrity doing, or talk about
what club you want to go to tonight,
or what I'm drinking, what woman I'm going to have sex with, what man I'm going to have sex with.
Someone, one of the radio stations that's playing constantly in your ear about murder, sex, like you was just saying, cheating, adultery, all types of BS.
And they'll come to us, someone that's talking about a particular way you must follow to get higher light and higher intellect and higher being, a higher self. And they'll be like, oh, yeah, he's talking that negative stuff. He's pushing this. They may even say religious stuff or the spiritual stuff, or he's speaking negatively. Why? Because we're talking about a specific way. It's only really two ways. It's only two ways.
It's the light and the darkness.
Yeah.
Of the light and the darkness. And if you meditate on that for a moment, you just take a break for that, and just let's take that all the way in, because I knew people that only thing they want to talk about is fighting, going out to get drunk so they can start fighting, going out to meet women or men or whatever just to go back and have sex to get what they want at the end of the day, which always ends up being something physical, a baby, a good night out, some sexual bliss one way or the other,
fleeting moments,
lust of the eyes,
fleeting moments,
sports, all types of things, TV,
the latest movie that came out, just
it's all
meaningless
after
things.
a while, you're going to be like, I just want to talk about something that consists of the Most High, because we're all not going to be here forever.
Yeah.
We're all not going to be here forever. So sometimes you have to take a step back and say, let me walk down this road of truth for a moment, to get familiar, to be a best friend, to be a child of the Most High. So the spirituality we speak about is not religion. It's a spirituality, the connection, the oneness with the Most High, Hashem, And that oneness is something you have to deal with every day. And it's beyond what religion, what man teaches, is a relationship with Hashem, personal relationship with Hashem.
And it's a path.
It's definitely a path. I just wanted to say all that real quick,
Yeah, and it's a path, man. I'm glad you spoke all that out because there's people that need to hear that. Mm-hmm. It's a path that you follow. It's only really two paths with multiple angles that lead to either destruction or life.
Parallels.
That's simply it. And you can spot an entity within a person or within even your own mind, because we're going to get to the thoughts pretty soon, but within a person that always constantly want to take you off of a path that's leading you towards life. For us, Torah is what we consider instructions. That's the instructions given from the Most High. Anything that leads us away from the path that gives us life, that is death, and that's the enemy. And that's an automatic example. Let's just say, for example, I say, hey man, I want everybody to come over tonight, and I want to get together and just talk about life, talk about life after death, talk about how things were at the beginning, what's to come.
Fellowship,
fellowship with
upright
brothers.
Energy,
and then they
upright spirit.
And they say to the person sometimes, come on, man, let's just go let's go do a lick, or let's go chase some booty,
hit a strip club, hit a bar.
You
want to just get drunk and talk about sports and nothingness, my problems.
I don't want to talk about that. I ain't riding with that.
I don't want to talk about the spiritual things of Hashem. I do some toy cards though, maybe, but I don't want to talk about all that.
That's a form of showing you that something's influencing that individual and them to kind of lead you, if you're not strong enough in your way, lead you astray to go the opposite. Because you can give way. You say, but you gotta meet the people where they are. Yeah, that's true sometimes, but you cannot become what they are. You cannot become what they are, because if you become what they are, you are no longer who you are. And
so yeah, when they only desire to talk about meaningless topics, like what you were just bringing up, that it's like the mood mismatch. It's like, what are we doing? What are we in here for? Why is this happening?
You might start getting agitated after a while. You might not even know if you're not consciously aware of yourself.
I had a conversation, back a couple times in my days, where, people would be like, not all people, of course, people that I ran into that was like this. They get an attitude, and they, know everything, every car club that's out there, or bike club. I said, but
I didn't get that.
We know what be going on in there. Of course, we've been around a little bit, so it's like, where we going with this story? Do you have anything of spiritual substance that goes in your soul? If you don't, then it's a mismatch with our souls and men and women like us. Because we can't continue to be secular in the world 24/7. It's going to have to be a time when you, the recipient, should be able to be spiritual, should be able to say, I know the Most High. He is my friend. He is my Father. And we should be able to share in that frequency together.
On some type of level. We don't always, we all walk in the path. Some people are further along on the path than others. My man Woodrow said that. Pick up to him, and that's very true. And if we could just have a conversation, it doesn't have to be on a high level of the intense relationship that happens within the heavens before the heavens and earth was formed. It doesn't have to be about that. It could be about just you seeing the Most High working your life in a specific type of way that really moved you to want to learn more, or want to be more, or want to seek Him out more. Those are the things that matter. Those are the things that lead to a greater path. That's what we mean by saying, and just starting to recognize Hashem in everything that you do. I know that may sound like, oh, y'all overdoing it, but you're really not.
And then, taking another step further, when you have these initial conversations, because these don't even really get in depth. Another thing that's wise that we learned over the years is never force any spiritual topic on anyone. Never force anything spiritual, physical, mental, emotional on anyone. If they don't want to talk about it, then don't talk about it. They wasn't meant to hear it.
Beware though, because they may try to force something on you.
Exactly. Now, they always want to force you to talk about something that you don't want to talk about. You have the same right as they do to say, no, I don't want to talk about going to a club, or how a lady in a strip club was looking, or, you lying to me about XYZ event because you're trying to save face. No, I don't want to hear about that, because also you don't want to talk about anything of spiritual substance. And those people will also try to shoot you down with negativity to try to provoke you, to get you angry, to bring you down to their particular stage, to their particular level.
Constantly giving you that negativity, saying, oh, you don't know how to have fun. Oh, you don't really know how to enjoy life. You so far out there. Things like that. Because, the type of energy repels one another. Negative and positive repel.
And we've been teaching people all the time, if even when we get to relationships and on the topic of friendships and relationships, male and female, if you want to be friends or you want to be in a relationship with anyone that's the same spiritual content and makeup as me and my brother, then there are going to be times where you have to be vulnerable enough to put out your relationship with the Most High on the table and be like, hey, this is what I've come to learn from him. And I'm also always wanting to get closer, always wanting to learn. And that's how you fellowship and gain knowledge together, wisdom together. And that is because you get an upright or a good energy within the whole building, the whole room. The energy starts to change. The energy starts to change. And then the energy is changing because you're on an upright frequency. Now you get all these new age terms. You're vibrating. Yeah, you're vibrating. You're vibrating on an upright frequency. The tones, the hertz, all that. You on upright frequencies, you're vibrating. And the reason why you're vibrating, since you raised your frequency, because this all starts up here. Since you raised your frequency, you raised your energy. And the only reason your energy got good is because the Most High sent a upright spirit on you, within you. And when that happens, you have upright Malachim angels around you, not demons, angels. So we had to know the history of all this when it goes back and forth. But people will try to provoke you and bring you down to negativity. And I just kind of went all over the place, but I was trying to break it down as much as possible.
Even on the subject of constant negativity, that's a strong way to see someone. That's a strong way to see what type of spirit someone has upon them or following them around. If they constantly want to bring that type of energy around you when you're on a, and people do have hard days, and people do go through battles, and people will put you in their battle, either knowingly or unknowingly. And that's, that could go both ways, depending on the individual that you're talking to. That could go both ways. And another way to really attract or really to be aware of different entities that exist within people is the constant pride and ego. We talk about this every time, but a powerful soul is not one of the Most High. A powerful soul does not regulate in the Most High. If you're not
You're really touching on some good stuff right now.
If you're not boasting in the Most High and the things that He's done for you, and you're just boasting in what you done for you, and how you did this, and how you did this, and how you did this, that's a clear indication that it's something within that individual that's making them curse themselves.
And on top of that, to make it even more into layman's terms, you get people that, here's an example. They don't want to hear anything good about anyone else, and they won't support you. They will not support you. It don't matter if they're family, if they're friends, if they are even, label mates, group mates, workmates, they're not going to support you because they're looking at you as competition. They don't have the unity spirit within them. They have the spirit that divides, which is a low energy, and it's on a low frequency, and we call that competition. If you can't be driven by yourself, within yourself, to do great, then you already are on the opposite end of the parallel. If you have to look at someone else's stuff and get jealous, then you're already on the opposite end of the parallel. So people would take our words, some people, some leaders, some rabbis, some elders, some pastors, they hear everything that we say and post, and they'll just straight rip it off. And then they will only want the praise from themselves. And they do that to not only us, but to hundreds of people, just to get the praise for themselves.
Even in the job industry, people, when they steal people ideas, give it to that boss and get a raise, they never really give light to the person that created it. You know, that's a form of egocentric person, really for themselves. Yet, you know, themselves are going to be their own downfall.
Even in the music industry, people will steal songs, concepts, to ideas, to hooks, and they take it so they can get the praise and get the money, because they're very egotistical. They don't want to see no one else succeed but themselves. They don't want to see anyone else in the spotlight but themselves. What type of spirit would you call that? That's a bad energy. And
the reason why that is a characteristic of a fallen one is because why did they fall? They fell because they fell out of line. They fell out of that oneness with Hashem. And these spirits, these entities, desire to be praised of themselves. They want their own esteem, their own magnification. They want everything to be of them, about them. You know, that's what the great start of the wars came from. The real wars, spiritual wars.
Yeah, because everyone
they wanted them.
Yeah, when you're not one, you're looking within to yourself. You're not looking to be one with everyone else. You know, you have to be one. If you're not one, then things are just not going to work out right. You are rebellious at that point. And if you rebel, you fall out of favor from Hashem and you fall into this earth. You know, so, and this all starts within the mind. It all starts within the mind. We're going to get onto that at the next episode, though.
It all does start within the mind. The way the mind works, the way you can tell people, all those different things, they really play a real heavy part. And in order for us to really free ourselves and really protect ourselves from these entities, we have to be aware of them and where they are.
This is a nice picture back here, by the way. It almost looks like the parallels that we was talking about. You have the high and then you have the low. You know, the upright and the falling. The different spectrums, the different frequencies on each parallel is vast in the spiritual and its physical. So the thoughts within the mind that can lead you away from, you know, Torah and your higher self. A lot of these things, when we talk about in our past shows, the mind is abstract. I can open up my head right now. You're going to see a brain. You're not going to see a mind. Brain is physical. A mind is abstract. The mind is spiritual. Anything that's abstract, you cannot physically pick up. You can't touch. You can't feel.